Hello, third graders. Welcome back. This is Dr. Davis here, ready for you to learn more about the human body systems. This is lesson 2 in our new domain. So let's get started. So let's review the major concepts or the major ideas that you learned about in lesson 1. We learned that the body is complex and made up of many systems. We also learned that cells are called the building blocks of life. And lastly, we also learned that cells make up tissues, tissues make up organs, and organs make up the body systems. So today, these are 2 important things that I want you to listen for. Listen carefully to learn about the skeletal system and what the skeletal system is made of. Also, I would like for you to listen to find out why the skeletal system is important to the human body. So let's begin. Hi everybody, Ricardo here. I've got a new riddle for you. We are a column of bones stacked one on top of one another. Collectively, we make up your backbone. We begin with the letter V. What are we? Vertebrate, that's exactly right. And I know that you knew that because of our last unit on classification of animals. Today we're going to talk about the system that gives our body its structure, allowing it to stand on its own. If you've ever seen a building being built, you know that it has a framework that gives the building its shape and keeps it from toppling over. Your body has a similar structure. Who knows what keeps your body from collapsing? That's right, your skeleton. Your skeleton is made up of bones. Bones can support a lot of weight, but they did not start out that way. Before you were born, your skeleton began as cartilage, a firm rubbery tissue like the tough gristle on a piece of meat. Touch the top of your ear. What you feel is cartilage. The top of your ear will always be cartilage, but much of the cartilage in your original skeleton hardened and turned to bone. By the time you were born, you had about 300 bones in your body. An adult has about 206 bones. So where did all the extra bones go? Do bones just disappear? No, they grow and change over time. Many of them join together, like those at the end of your spine called the tailbone or the bones in your skull. Have you ever heard the saying, hard as a rock? Rocks are hard due to minerals stored inside them. The outside part of the bones become hard by storing minerals too. Minerals enter your body in the food you eat and the vitamins you may take. Calcium contained in dark leafy greens, broccoli, and dairy products, such as milk, is one of the important minerals that make your bones as hard and as strong as rocks on the outside. Calcium is also needed to help blood clot or thicken when you accidentally cut yourself. Without it, your blood would be too thin for you to maintain good health. At least until you reach your full weight, your bones will continue to grow with you. It's hard to imagine rock-hard bones growing, isn't it? They cannot stretch or bend. So how do bones grow? Well, bones are made up of living tissue. New bone tissue is being made all the time, working to replace worn-out cells and making it possible to heal broken bones. Before you were born, your bones were solid, but many of them have become hollow over time, making them very light yet still very strong. This is how bones differ from rocks. Rocks are solid all the way through, but bones are porous, meaning that they have many tiny holes through which liquid pass. Marrow, a jelly-like tissue, fills these cavities of your porous bones. Bone marrow is your body's blood cell factory. It produces blood cells to fight infection and carry oxygen throughout your body. Bones come in many shapes and sizes. Some are long and rod-like with knobby ends. Some are short and look like cubes, whereas others are flat. And some have their very own unique shape. Even though there are many different kinds and sizes of bones, all human skeletons look pretty much the same. Your skeletal bones are designed in specific ways to support and protect every part of your body. These are three groups of bones that form your axial skeleton: the spine, the skull, and the ribs. The bones that support the center of your body are called axial bones. It is also the job of the axial bones to protect the most important organs in your body. You've already learned that taxonomists classify animals in two groups: vertebrates and invertebrates. Who remembers the group in which humans are classified? Right, we're vertebrates. Vertebrates are animals with what? Backbones, that's right. Your backbone or spine is actually more than one bone. It is a column of many bones stacked one on top of the other. Bend forward and feel along the middle of your back. So bend over and then take your hand and feel down the middle of your back. Do you remember those little bumps running down your back? As you may have learned in an earlier domain, these are your vertebrae, a series of bones fitted one on top of another to form the spinal column, or backbone. Cartilage separates each vertebra, filling in the spaces and cushioning them one from another. Each vertebra has a hole in it, allowing the spinal cord an important pathway for nerves to pass through it. Your spinal column protects your spinal cord, in addition to providing the main support for your skeleton. Your spine is only one part of your axial skeleton. Sit up as straight and as tall as you can. Now look at your neighbor if you have someone next to you or close to you. Does the side profile of your neighbor's spine look straight? Probably not. Your spine is curved, looking more like the letter S than the letter I. Can you think of any reasons why it might be better to have a slight curve in your back rather than it being completely straight? If your back was as straight as a board, you wouldn't be able to bend. The shape of your spine allows you much greater flexibility. You have already heard about the fabulous tailbone at the end of your spine. So what's at the other end? Up top. Use your hand to follow your vertebrae up your back, along your neck to your head. Feel how hard your head is. Knock, knock. Who knows the name for the protective group of bones hidden inside your head? Right, your skull. Skull bones sit on top of your backbone, becoming the second part of your axial skeleton, that group of bones that support the center of your body. Your skull is comprised of a group of bones, 29 in all. Locked together, they protect your brain and some of your body's sensory organs. The top part of your skull, shaped like a bowl that is surrounding the brain, is called the cranium. Can you say that word, cranium? Good, cranium. 8 thin curved bones are tightly interlocked to form this smooth cranial helmet beneath your forehead and scalp. When you were born, these 8 bones still had gaps between them, allowing your brain to grow. Because these gaps don't close completely for about 2 years, babies have a soft spot on their heads and need very careful handling. The rest of your skull bones are facial bones, or bones in your face. Put your hands over your eyes and touch your closed lids very gently, pushing up slightly toward your eyebrows. So right up here, right up here. The round openings in your skull are called eye sockets. These sockets are deep enough to protect your delicate eyes. Another hole in your skull is just the right size for your nose. Though it is sometimes closed or covered up with teeth, what is the biggest opening in your face? Right, your mouth. Cover your face with your hands and open your mouth wide. Which bone moved? Yes, your jawbone. The upper jaw is attached to the rest of your skull, but the lower jawbone is hinged so it can move, yes, up and down, and side to side. Can you do that? up and down, side to side. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Does anyone remember the three groups of bones that form the axial skeleton down the center of your body? The spine is one. The skull is another. The third group of axial bones is also connected to your spine. Reach behind you again and feel the bones that stretch across your back, wrapping around to the front of your body. So you're going to reach from the back and then come around to the front. What are these bones called? Right again, your ribs. Ribs are curved bones that form a protective cage called the rib cage around your heart and your lungs. Ribs come in pairs. Each rib is attached to a vertebra in the middle of your back and the sternum or breastbone in the middle of your chest. Feel your chest. Can you count the number of ribs in your rib cage? So feel and into your chest. How many did you count? You have 24 ribs or 12 pairs in all. I just can't resist sharing a joke with you right now because it fits in so well with what you're learning. So here's Mr. Ricardo's joke for the day. What did the rib cage say to the heart? Give up? Gotcha covered. You get it? The skull and ribs both protect vital organs, organs that you cannot live without. However, your ribs are designed very differently from your skull. Whereas your skull is made up of solid interconnected bones without spaces between, there are spaces between each of your ribs. Can anyone guess why it wouldn't work for the rib cage to be one big solid bone? Take a deep breath, as deep as you can. Now let it out. What happens to your chest? Do it again and notice how your chest goes in and out with each breath that you take. Solid bone around your chest would prevent the diaphragm and lungs from expanding properly with the air you breathe. The shape of the spine combined with the spaces in between each pair of ribs helps the human body to be flexible. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about the skeleton. Today you learn about axial bones, and tomorrow you'll hear a term that relates to another part of the skeletal system and to your arms and legs. I'm looking forward to the next time we meet. I'll be sure to have new riddles. Okay, friends, let's look at some comprehension questions. Once again, I'm going to read both of the questions, and I want you to think about what is the answer to these questions. Question number 1. Explain why the skeletal system is so important. Now think about what the skeletal system is made up of and why you need it. Get that answer in your head. Number 2, which bones are called your axial bones? Ricardo talked about specifically what the job was of those axial bones and where they're located. So let's look at answer number 1. Explain why the skeletal system is so important. The bones give the human body its structure, allowing it to stand up on its own. It also protects vital organs. So remember, without the skeletal system, we would just flop. We have to have bones to give us our shape and to be able to stand and move. Which bones are called your axial bones? Remember, they are very important because they really protect important organs in your body. So which bones are there? The spine, the skull, and the rib cage. Remember our ribs, that it goes all the way from the middle of our body around to the back. Those are called the axial bones. And remember, those bones protect very important organs. Question 3. Why is bone marrow important? And question 4. How do bones heal and grow? Think about the answers to both of those questions and get an answer in your head. Let's look back at number 3. Why is bone marrow important? Bone marrow produces blood cells that help to fight infections, carry oxygen through the body, and allow bones to grow. And remember, these blood cells, remember we talked about cells in our last lesson? They are always reproducing. Remember we talked about how they're multiplying and dividing. Sometimes they're dead cells, but anytime there's dead cells, there are more new cells that are reproduced. So bone marrow is very important to our health and development. Number 4, how do bones heal and grow? How many people out there has had a broken bone? A lot of times children may have a broken arm or a broken wrist or a broken leg, and that happens to anyone. So how do they heal and grow? Bones are made of marrow, living cells, and tissues that replace worn out cells. So you think about, a lot of times if someone's had a broken bone, they may have a cast, and that helps to keep it still. While it's being still, it gives the bone a chance to make those living cells and those tissues to replace those that have been damaged. And now it's time for a brain break. So I have in my hand some wiggle cards here, and I want you to act out what's on my wiggle card. So the first thing is pretend to sing in a microphone. Let me see you singing out there. Good job. Tap your hand. Tap, 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 tap. All right, this one requires you to get some moving in. Run in place. Run slowly, slow, slow. Pick up the speed. Faster, faster. Run in place as fast as you can. Good job. Okay, now stop. Now breathe deeply and let it out. Good job. All right, this time, hike up a hill. Good job, hiking up that hill. Jump 3 times. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Pretend that you are eating a meal. Good. And our last one, stomp with 1 foot. Great. Now that you've got your wiggles out, let's go on and complete our lesson for today. Okay, friends, so let's finish up our lesson for today. In the read aloud you heard, today we're going to talk about the system that gives your body its structure, allowing it to stand on its own. A structure is a form or shape, or something that is made up of a number of parts arranged together. For example, a house is built in an area where earthquakes are common should have a structure that will resist the force of the earthquake. In the read aloud, you heard why it is important for the body to have a strong structure. What are some things that could not exist without a strong structure? Yes, your house or wherever you live has to have a strong structure. What else needs a strong structure? Your school needs a strong structure. Or any building in which we go into, it has to have a strong structure to keep us safe. So what's the word we're talking about today? Structure, exactly. What part of speech is structure? Structure is a noun. Friends, you have completed lesson 2 for today, in which we learned about the skeletal system. I look forward to seeing you next time as we learn more about the human body. Goodbye.